My name is Stefan Brigati, and I've been investigating the paranormal for over 30 years. Come along with me and my team as we take a journey into the unknown. This is my darkest hour.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to this edition of My Darkest Hour. So great to be back. Been doing so many exciting things. Just been busy, going into that wild, crazy season. So I want to keep you guys all updated as possible. So thanks for getting back to the show. Thanks for all the emails you guys have been sending me. Some great pictures. The stuff you guys have been investigating is actually incredible. You guys are very lucky to live in some of the areas that you guys do. I'm jealous. I'm going to have to come out there and check it out. Anyway, as always, I got Abby with me. And of course, today is going to be a very special day. I've been excited to talk a little bit about some of the topics that we have. If you guys follow me on the University of Magicus, you know that I do these paranormal classes and stuff. And one of the ones I've been doing a lot of lately has been spirited objects. Of course. I have Abby, and we've seen her on the show, not only here on My Darkest Hour, but also during the classes. She becomes very active and wants to put her 2 cents in and give me her opinion a lot. And it's great fun. It's really good. And this gives me an opportunity to kind of move a little bit forward. I'm planning more stuff with some spirited items, possibly a new book coming out. Possibly, we'll see. I talk a little bit about it in some of the other books, but something we can really dedicate ourselves to, focusing on one thing at a time. So it's great to have someone that knows a lot about this kind of stuff. And I decided to give her, get in touch with her and see if she would come on the show. And so I'm very, very excited to have on longtime friend of the show, Becky Vickers, that you guys have seen. We did the show a couple of years ago, and we talked a lot about the Goatman Bridge, which is also fascinating. There's so many great places and so many things happening, and I love this kind of stuff. So this kind of goes along with that tradition. So let's go ahead and bring her on the show and find out what's happening with this and learn a little bit more, because she has had some real world experience with some amazing spirited dolls. So let's just go ahead and bring her in. Hi, Becky.
Hey, how are you?
I am absolutely fantastic. Thanks for joining us. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good all the time. Best I can.
Good.
So, yeah, it's great to have you on the show. And, it's just like I was telling the listeners. So I'm fascinated with the whole spirited items thing, because I have my own little collection of things I've had to remove from places, and it's an attached building next to us. But I have my dear friend Abby here, who was given to me, and she's just been great. So I've been talking a lot about that, and then I was watching the documentary the other night, and I haven't even said what documentary it was. It's about Robert the doll. For those of you who don't know about Robert's a very, very famous doll with just an absolutely amazing history. The story behind Robert is just incredible, and I had no idea. But as the show is going on, and they're showing all these investigators who've had real world experience about dealing with the curse of Robert the doll, because they say Robert's cursed apparently. And I saw Becky come across that list, and she's doing an interview, and I'm like, what? I got to get in contact with her, find out what's going on. So, Becky, if you could please tell us about your experience with not only Robert the doll, but the paranormal and the things that you do in the field leading up to that part with Robert.
I'm with you. Haunted dolls are very intriguing. Man, a lot comes with those. So yeah, like you, I've been in the field for a long time, about 40 plus years. So I started really, really young, and yeah, it's a fascination, it's a passion, it's a love, and all of the above. And I had the opportunity to go see the real Robert the Doll. And who didn't know about Robert the Doll? I mean, the curse and all of that. So I had to go check it out when I was in Key West. And can I just tell you, he is creepy. Like,
I'm sure.
he,
I mean,
he
you see the pictures and you're just like, oh, dude, what's going on with this? Because it looks harmless, but at the same time, it looks like something's very menacing behind that innocence. You're like, whoa, hold on now.
oh yeah. The way that they have him set up is that he's in this room by himself, and it's black. Everything's black except one light that shines on Robert. And so you walk around, you take pictures, and I learned the hard way the whole curse business, um, to ask permission first before you take Robert's picture is a real thing. I didn't believe in curses before I went and saw Robert. I'd never had any experiences with curses. I mean, ghosts, yeah, poltergeist, all that, but not a curse.
Yeah, that's taking it to a new level. And you don't expect that because not everything's cursed. All of a sudden you just come across this legend. All of a sudden, whoa, that thing's supposed to be cursed. You're like, oh, okay, urban legend. Whatever.
Yeah.
Sure, it's cursed. But then you start really thinking about it. You're like, well, hold on, curses, because you see all these great movies about curses and stuff. I'm like, well, maybe, but it's just so rare and hard to really believe. So I get it. You're just thinking it's a doll. It's a creepy doll. Let me go check it out.
And I felt very comfortable in my knowledge of the afterlife, spiritual stuff, ghosts, paranormal. Um, but I couldn't help it. This was the one time that my curiosity just got the better of me, and I think it was my lack of knowledge of what a curse is, how it works. It like you just said, it's folklore to me. I don't a curse really like no. So as I'm walking around, he is like, I don't know, like he watches you, like as you walk around him. And I just thought, I don't believe in curses, so I'm going to take his picture and not ask. So, yeah, yeah, bad
And it's
idea.
written on the walls in there, the
Oh,
rules.
it's written everywhere. It's
You have to
written
actually take a little mini
everywhere.
class before you go into the room so they can tell you. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And they have one area that's like a gift shop when you leave, and it's just the walls are plastered with all of these handwritten notes and stuff from people that are asking forgiveness because you
Wow.
know um, they got cancer or their house burnt or all of this kind of stuff. And I'm telling you, even reading all of that, in my mind, that's coincidences. Like, Robert didn't do all that. That couldn't possibly have happened. Uh, but yet, they had the little Robert the Doll's replica, and I just had to have one. Like, I was just obsessed
Really?
with.
I
Oh,
don't know about
don't
that.
say you haven't been like seen a
I
doll
would
and go, yeah, I gotta have that.
totally want to collect stuff, but it's like, wait a second. What if this is part of the curse? The little pieces of him are infused in it. I mean, I don't know. What if I put in my car? If I had a Robert the Doll keychain, and my car gonna start? I mean, who knows?
Well, I can tell you, my boyfriend, he at the time was begging me, please don't buy one of those dolls. Please don't do it. And I'm like, I have to have a Robert the doll from the original museum, and Robert is in the next room. It was just a thing that was meant to be in my head. Like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. Oh my gosh, it was so bad.
Oh
We
wow.
we get home, and My boyfriend loses his job after like 20 years. I have never had a broke bone, a broke anything. I simply stepped one step that was like 3 inches off the ground. It wasn't even like a regular step, and tore my Achilles 3 inches. So I was in a boot for like 3 months plus.
Wow.
My boyfriend's two sons, two different vehicles had a wreck. Both had a wreck. Thank goodness they were okay. We woke up one morning and both our cars had flats. The lights in the house started to flicker. And that sounds like a lot, but it was 1 week.
Wow.
It wasn't like over a period of time. So
That's just like total bombardment. It's like, that
it
is
was
definitely something
living.
that sounds like a curse.
It was living hell. And it took my
Wow.
mind a little bit to figure out what the hell is going on. Because at first I'm like, okay, this is just a coincidence that we just got back and I have Robert, this can't be a real thing. But man, it was day after day after day. And it wasn't just stuff that I could write off as coincidence. It was major stuff. I tore my Achilles. Like,
Yeah. Who does
the
that?
losing. Yeah, it was major, major stuff. And so now I'm getting scared. I'm getting like freaking out a little bit that what the hell? Maybe this is real. And so I start having all of these other things happen. That these shadow figures started showing up. I'd be in the house by myself and I'd hear voices. And it was too much. It was just too much. And I'm like, I've got to get the doll out of the house. It has to be this doll. So I took it to work with me where I put it in a big dark, we have a big walk-in safe at my office. And I'm like, oh, it'll be safe. Nobody will bother it, blah, blah, blah. Oh no, I did not do the right thing.
Wow.
Then at my office, the alarms started going off in the middle of the night. We had a security system come out, brand new security system. Still, we're getting alerts about motion and everything around the safe. And the security people actually said, we have absolutely no explanation for what's happening. And it was just crazy. So now in my head, I'm like, I don't have a choice. I've got to write a letter, right? I've got to send Robert a letter because now I'm a believer. Now it's too much. It's just too much. So I write the letter. And so I'm thinking I need to send Robert back, like pack him up, ship him in the mail. And so as I'm doing it, I just get this feeling of like, okay, no, this is not going to make him happy. This is not going to go well for you. You can send him back, but this is not going to go well. So I just decided to make peace with the doll. Like, tell him how sorry I was, that I didn't believe the power that he had, the things that he could do, and that I promised to never put him in the dark again because, Eugene Otto's wife, that's what she would do. She'd put him in the attic, and that's when things started going really bad. So he sits in my office.
Your office, like next to your desk, or what?
Yes, I recently just purchased an old Victorian home, so I did take Robert with me down there, and I got to tell you, it was the longest drive with him in my car. I'm like, oh my Lord, please let me make it safely.
Huh.
I did the whole buckled him in and all that business. Like I
You
was.
made sure he was all comfortable. You all right?
Yes.
Yeah. You're not gonna throw him in the trunk. No, that's not happening.
No, I think that's one thing that he doesn't like the dark at all. And I think that's why in the museum, everything is dark but where he's at. And it's, again, they have this big spotlight on him, because that's that's where Eugene's wife would pitch him to be, up in the attic, and
In the
it was,
suitcase, yeah.
yeah.
Packing away. Interesting. So you're a believer in the curse then, because you've experienced that.
I am. I am.
mean,
Too much things happened. Too many
You're
things.
very lucky it only lasted a week. There are
Oh,
people
it
that have been terrified.
lasted longer.
Terrorized.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
it did?
Well, I mean, the first week's when all the stuff happened at home, and then when I took it to the office, the
Oh,
alarm's going off, and honest to goodness, we had a girl at the office. We were having it painted, so I had to sit Robert on a different shelf. And as she walked out one weekend, why? I don't know, because she knew all the stories about Robert. But she said, "Oh, F you, Robert," as she walked out the door. I didn't know she done it. I didn't know she had said this. And over the weekend, both of her kids came down with pneumonia in 2 different colleges. Somebody very close in her family committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
One of the other girls at the office had to be rushed to the hospital with appendix. Yeah, it's just too much. It's too much.
That's a lot.
Isn't it?
And that's just the little doll that you have with you. It's not even like the
not...
Robert doll. But, it makes you wonder, does he put his energy upon all of those dolls and everything? Because that's his domain. He's like, Absolutely. Look at all my stuff. I'm just going to touch everything and be a part of everything. So he can make contact with you. And if you don't ask for his picture, to take that picture, and then you just kind of go to the gift shop and buy a Robert doll home, he's going home with you. He's like, oh, okay, we're going to do this. All right, cool. Here I am.
100%. I think definitely he can have his energy attached to the replicas, and he wants to be respected, and at all times, this whole curse business of, ask my permission first. I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't live it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people just think it's a curse, until you actually are in the mainstream of the curse and it's happening to you.
Yeah.
Because people tell you things, you're like, oh, what a coincidence. Oh, that's weird. But when it's going on in your life, you're like, what is all this chaos? Because it's focused on you. Because you didn't ask for permission to take his picture. See, I've already been warned about the whole Robert thing, even just writing about it.
Yeah.
Like, do I have to go there and say, hey, buddy, I doing a little bit and I'd like to incorporate you on it and blah, blah, blah. People work something out, because people who write about him have the same things happen to them. The guy who did the documentary, he wrote the book about Robert the doll. And then he was, for like over a month, just terrorized, and all these things were happening to him. So he went back and he had a conversation with Robert, and then everything was okay. It's like, dude, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is a little bit about behind the scenes of filming the documentary. The 2 producers came in from opposite coasts. Both of their flights were delayed for over 3 hours on opposite ends of the coast. So it wasn't like bad weather on one end causing one producer not to make it. Both their luggages were lost. They both had issues getting from the airport to the actual, it's called the artist house where Robert was originally at. And so when they get there, they're telling me all this. And I said, this is not a coincidence. And so they literally packed up and went to the museum and did just what you're saying. They told Robert, we're going to do this documentary. We're going to do it respectful. We hope that's okay with you. Things were smooth sailing past that. And so the minute that they had told Robert this, they were in the gift shop reading some of the letters, and literally both of these guys got a text that their luggage had been found.
Really?
Places.
Right after you make your peace, you're like, all right, well, we made a deal. Thank you for asking me for permission to use my likeness and talk about me, and here's your luggage.
Isn't that the craziest thing? I mean,
Oh
you
my gosh,
can't make that up.
that's insane. But it's so not insane at the same time. It's like one of those things. It's like, what's going on here? I'm the same way. Spirits all day long, whatever. But like something like that, that's like a little more intricate. And then people are saying, well, I was there and I realized that it's not a haunted or a spirited doll. He's a vortex of some type, and different energies come through him. I'm like, well, then is it the same energy that's getting mad all the time, or is it a combination of things? I mean, what was your feeling when you were standing there with the other side of the glass, just staring into his eyes? Were you feeling like there was something else connected to him?
You know what? I did not think of a vortex in any way, but the energy coming from Robert, they have him in this sealed glass case.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to even touch the case. You're walk around and you're not supposed to touch the case and all of this. Um, my personal feeling was there is something to him. I don't know what it is, but there is some sort of energy attached. I mean, you could just feel that. You really could. And again, as I'm feeling it, because being in the paranormal, you learn to pay attention to your senses really, really good. But I just had no clue about this whole curse business. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm going to test the waters here, um, and take his picture. It was not
Wow,
good. It's not
you're pretty
good.
brave. I don't know if I would do that just because I don't want to have any issues.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
That's amazing. And you were able to get through that, and you have Robert sitting at your desk keeping you company, who's your desk buddy now. That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's the only way. When I was gonna send him back, it was almost just again this overwhelming feeling of he's not going to like being boxed up in the dark. I honest to God think
Yeah.
it has something to do with keeping him in the light, because he used to sit up on the third floor and watch the
Hmm.
children go by, and there's kids that are older now that swear that when they would walk by the house they would see Robert watching them. And I think it all has to do with, like, I don't know, does he have a fear of the dark? He doesn't like to be in solitude. Nobody does, right? Who wants to be able to? They were first put at a beautiful window to see, Key West, Florida, and then they're
Yeah.
sitting in a corner of boxes and bugs and rats and who knows what else
Just
up in an
forgotten
attic.
about. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
And nobody would definitely like that. Nobody wants to sit there like that and just feel forgotten and pushed aside in the corner.
No.
So I think it's good that people honor him and give him some more respect. He's like 100 years old. I mean, he's really old. And he traveled from Germany, made in
Yes.
Germany and everything. So I just wonder, what happened. And there's rumors about that he was used in voodoo rituals as well, part of the story behind him. So I don't know if that's actually been confirmed or not. I mean, sure, it adds in there with the curse thing. It sounds like great urban legend stuff. But, that maybe, who knows? There's a lot of times before Gene had the doll that he was somewhere. So I wonder what could have happened.
It certainly makes sense that voodoo would have been involved. Um, again, the whole curse thing. I mean, and that is a big part of voodoo, right? Is they will curse people, or the lock of hair that they twist around something and make voodoo dolls, and that person feels the pain or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I dare say I'm inclined to believe that version of Robert the doll. I think there was some voodoo involved in his existence with Eugene, or prior to Eugene.
That is interesting because going from Germany, you don't think about voodoo curses in Germany, but every culture has some type of practice that has something like that. I'm sure. So
Right.
who knows?
Right.
Old gypsies, maybe. I don't know. But
I
he's
don't know.
definitely alive to the aspect of he can cause that kind of chaos. You know, we think about spirited items. You know, we always talk about Annabelle because she's so pop
Oh,
culture. You know, but I think Robert has a little bit more going on because she's not out there going after people. You know, he kind of is. So that's pretty interesting. I think he's probably more an aggressive haunted doll than Annabelle is.
I have, I'm like you, I've collected over the years. People have given me things that they think are haunted and they don't want it in their house. And I think I'm strong enough protection wise in the paranormal field to feel good about taking a haunted object and, making boundaries before I bring it into the house and all of this sort of stuff. But I
Grounding and
think,
everything.
yes, but I think Robert is probably the most haunted, the replica, it's even just a replica of Robert the doll, is probably the most intense haunted object that I own.
Wow.
And I try to be super careful when I'm pointing him out or talking about him, that y'all, you can test me on anything else that's haunted if you don't believe it's haunted, whatever. But Robert is the one thing not to test me on. Don't take his picture without asking first. Make sure you do that. Heed my warning so that it doesn't happen to you.
Yeah. You know, and that's what they try to do there at the museum, you know.
Yes.
For those who want to go down there and visit him, he's at the Fort East Mortello Museum down there in the Key West. You can go take your chances if you want, but they do recommend following the rules. There's like a little thing they talk to you about in the prior room of what you should and shouldn't do. And once again, it's written on the walls to follow these 3 simple rules. Just don't,
Yes.
and people still do it. They still just challenge. I mean, obviously, or there wouldn't be hundreds and hundreds of letters in that room. And I go to ghost towns and stuff, and they say the same thing. You see something there, leave it alone. Don't take it. All those antiques. Everyone's like, oh, look at this little bottle. That's great. I'm just going to take that home. And all of a sudden, there's chaos is going on, and things are moving around the house, and so they do the same thing. They send these letters back, and all these items mysteriously come back because at some of the entranceways, there's just it's all scattered out. The people who get the letters put the stuff back. So I think same thing with Robert. Hey, sorry, I took your picture, or blah blah blah. Here's my story. By the hundreds, and it's still today. It still happens today.
It does. My experience happened 2 years ago. So that's not very long ago. But you're right. People go and they think something as simple as picking up a rock from the location. Maybe it's a conjuring house. I'm just using that as an example. Oh, this is the famous conjuring house. No, it's not going to matter if I take this little rock and take it home. I like to just let people know it's kind of like you walk into someone's house on their property and you take something that isn't yours. Um, that's not going to make me happy if you came in my house and you took a glass home with you without asking or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm upset about that. I'm angry about that. And so I think people really have to be cautious of that whole just let me bring this home, nobody's going to notice, that whole thing. And even with Robert, people at the museums, people picking up rocks, or they have the little boards on the outside from shipwrecks and all of this sort of stuff. Man, don't take anything from any location that is said to be haunted.
Yeah, I think that's a rule of thumb. Like, just don't take anything that doesn't belong to you.
Right. It's not yours to take.
Could have a curse on it.
Yes. Hell yes, it could have a curse on it.
So that's incredible. So for those of you who want to follow Becky, I put the website up right here, BecksGhostHunters.com. and I got my little ticker tape of information going here on the bottom. Go check that out. There's a lot of great stuff on there. There's been some amazing cases. Like we talked about the Goatman Bridge last time, which is always interesting because it's, I mean, what is it? Is it a spirit? Is it some kind of creature? Is it a cryptoid? What's going on with that? So have you been there lately in a while?
You know what? It's so much darker now than it used to be. Even though when you and I talked, it's a very dark place. And there's a lot of satanic stuff that still goes on. Probably the last time I was at the bridge was a month ago. I mean, in the past year, there's been bodies found, and there's been all of this. There was like a huge satanic ritual kind of thing went on one night.
Really?
I mean, it's crazy, crazy. I think it does have a lot of bad, I don't know, borderline demon for sure. And I don't like to use the word demon because I think, a lot of people throw that out when they don't have any other explanation. But I do believe that something's been summoned to that area.
Yes, probably. I know some people who live in that area, and they were talking about some. I guess it's kind of like a demonic thing, but I think it's more of a darker entity versus something that were religious related. I think it's just some real negative energy that has been kind of brought to life, and people are playing around with it. So it's just like manifesting, becoming stronger. And that's probably why it seems to be darker in that area.
Yeah, I mean, you think, you think about all the people that come to the Goatman's Bridge, and what are they there for? They're there to see the scary stuff, and they're wanting to experience all of this negative stuff. And that just snowballs into this big giant ball of energy of negative stuff. And sometimes you get down there, it's hard to get out. And I think, my personal opinion, I think some people that maybe aren't in the best state of mind or at their strongest point in life get caught up and commit suicide at this bridge. There's a lot of negative swirling around, and the more people come and request the negative stuff,
like depression and stuff.
Yeah.
Very, very low level negative stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, that's sad. And I see people who get caught up and mixed up into it, and they start doing their rituals and stuff, and a lot of them are like on drugs as they're doing this stuff. It's like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah,
you're
really.
Gonna play with doorways and open up and think that you're strong enough to push back against whatever might come through. Are you kidding me?
Thank you. I love the way you just phrased that. People, you see things on TV, and the younger generation thinks, oh, we can go down there and we can do this big seance and it's all good, and let's get high while we're doing it. But are they really strong enough to know how to guard against what they're doing, what they're really calling in?
Well, that's the trick right there. They don't know what they're really calling in. Right. I mean, we call it the unknown for a reason. It's the unknown. So we're going to go, even with paranormal investigator, you're a paranormal investigator. It's like everyone says, what kind of equipment you bring? You don't know exactly what kind of equipment you bring. You got some kind of idea from your previous walkthrough real quick, or the layout of the place, but you pretty much bring everything because you never know what's going to happen.
That's right.
You load it all up. What if I need this? Taking it with me.
It's crazy, this world, that, if you're going to dive into the paranormal, it's a hard door to close, and you really have to take precaution, and it can be very, very dangerous.
Yeah. And the key factor is you have to investigate smart.
I agree.
I mean, drugs, alcohol, all that stuff, anything that's going to impure your mind,
yes,
going to kind of make you not, because you're not thinking about it. If you lower your defenses that low, you're just a target.
Exactly.
I mean, they know if you're protected and your guard is high, they're going to be like, oh, this is too much work. Let's move on to this guy over here. He's drinking.
Yes.
Get that guy.
Yes.
So they know. So you got to
Of
be careful.
course.
Don't be
Don't
silly.
even go to those kind of locations. If you've had a bad day or a bad day at work, or you're quarreling with your spouses or any of that, because you are not focused, you're not on your game per se to pay attention to what's happening. I mean, even possessions can take place when people are weak and they're not paying attention and they don't realize how drained they're getting. Oh, I'm feeling a little tired. I'm tired today. I had a bad day. No, it can be a lot more than that.
Yeah. You can have something attached to you, just feeding off your
Yes.
energy. And
Yes.
you sleep all night and you wake up and you're just still exhausted. You're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel so tired
Yeah.
lately. Again, you got to get all that negative energy off you. You got to start fresh.
That's true. 100%.
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of people that do investigative work, they don't really protect themselves or ground themselves before they rush into a case. They just, here we are, let's go, grab the case, let's go, guys.
Yep.
It's like, hold on, group outside, take that 5 minutes. That's all it takes. Get yourself together, ground yourself, whatever protective stuff that you might need, whatever it is, if it's a prayer or if
Right.
it's a lucky rabbit's foot or whatever it is, spend some time with it, ground yourself, focus on yourself. And they just leave. They don't finish when they're leaving. They don't ground themselves again and get all that energy. You just went into a haunted location with pulsating with energy. You're walking through that the entire, it's sticking to you. You got residue on you. Don't take it home with you, because that's when you bring it home and it becomes a bigger problem.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you. And part of the blame lays with, the TV shows. And I get the TV show. I watch all the paranormal shows, so I love them. But I also realize they're putting into inexperienced paranormal people that, oh, what you just said, let's grab a recorder, let's grab a camera and go send it this haunted location without ever having any thought of grounding and, like, let's be serious before we step into here. It's kind of like jumping into a swimming pool and not knowing how to swim.
Yes. So you're just going to go for it? It's like, oh, good luck. I mean, really?
Yeah, you're gonna sink to the bottom, man.
You
It's
got
not
it. Yeah.
gonna be good.
You're going to go in there, something's going to happen, you're going to freak out running, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah,
Yes.
you're not solving the problem. You got to be smart. You got to have the right kind of experience. I tell that to people all the time. Like, you're not just going in there, especially a private residence, they're trying to help somebody. You just can't go in there like an amateur. You're not just a paranormal investigator at this point. You're also a counselor. Not
Oh,
only are you helping the people who live at the location, you're also trying to figure out what's going on with that spirit. How are you going to help that spirit? We got to work out some kind of deal here, coexistence. What's happening? So you just can't run in there and start. And I've done this for so long, and I've worked with a lot of people, and I work with a lot of the people in the TV industry, and I do investigations with a lot of them, and I see them making a lot of those mistakes, demanding spirits to do stuff or to, you better come touch this thing right now. It's like, what? What are you talking about? Why are you being like that? And it's like, seriously, you're going to somebody's house. It could be the spirit's house. That might have been their old home. You don't go in there and tell them what to do. You're the guest in their house. You don't go in there and just put your feet up on the table and tell them to make you a sandwich because you're hungry. No, you're going to go in there and you're going to give them respect. If you want the best evidence, you got to be the cool guy, the cool investigator. Hey, everybody, let's have fun. And then they'll want to have fun with you.
right. I 100% agree. I'll never forget. I took on a case. It's been several years back, and this lady called and she told me about her kids were being affected by the spirit in the home, and her husband, and they were just having, like, the cabinets were flinging open by themselves and all of this sort of stuff. And so I requested that the children not be present when I was there. And so the kids left when I got there. And so I'm trying to, exactly what you said, I'm trying to figure out what's happening here. What could be causing this sort of activity? Is it tied to the location? Blah, 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 blah. long story short, the night before that I came to do an investigation, she told me that one of the children who was 16 got a knife and tried to stab the dad to death. Like,
What? That's
yeah,
not cool.
no. And so I had no idea about that until that night. And so the more that I'm talking to her, she's continuing to tell me about these family disagreements and how violent they're becoming. And they're just at each other's throat, blah, 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 blah. And so, again, long story short, come to find out, um, her father was very abusive and had stayed with them at some point and was very abusive to the children and to the husband and all of this sort of things. And he had passed away. And so I do believe that his negative energy was still in the house. And so we did our investigation, and her house was extremely active, extremely active. And so, when talking about being a counselor, I asked her to have the kids, they had gone to someone's house, to have them come back because I really felt, and I'm no certified counselor by no means, I don't never claim that, but I knew I had to help this family realize what was going on. So I asked her to call the kids back. And they were teenagers, they weren't little kids, they were teenagers. And I made them all sit on the couch and I said, all of this negative energy that y'all are creating, the kids are hating the parents are ticked off at the kids for doing this. And I said, it's come to the point that, you tried to stab your dad with a knife last night.
Wow.
The only way you're going to beat this negative energy that I do believe is the grandfather and the lady's dad is y'all have to get on the same page and project positivity. You have to have some sort of coming to Jesus meeting tomorrow. You sit down in a circle and you cuss and you scream and you yell about everything that you don't like. I don't like that you kids aren't coming in at curfew, and mom and dad, you're not letting the kids stay out long enough. Whatever it is, get it out of the way. And then you have to start being positive with each other and be on the same page to stop what is happening in this house before somebody really, really gets hurt.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty extreme. I mean, that's
It
just
was
not a normal case.
it was unbelievable to me that it had come to the kid trying to stab the dad, and then by the end of our conversation and through the night, the mother kind of breaks down and tells me about the father that slept on their couch and how just abusive he was and angry and yelling and screaming and always causing chaos. And so, that I think is truly what was in the home was this man's spirit, and they had to come together to fight against him. Because when he was there, that's what he was doing. He was causing chaos and turmoil, and they had to let him know that's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You got to find that happy medium somewhere, agreement for them to coexist, and the kids can't let that affect them and make all that negative energy. You got to really change it around.
Yeah.
And you can feel it. You can feel it. Like the air gets thicker and it's harder to breathe. You don't feel as comfortable as a nice open room where the air is flowing through and the sunshine's coming through, and you just feel the goodness in the room. Like, yeah, this is a good moment. You start feeling that sense of gloom and doom and a little bit of oppression coming on. It's like, wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
Especially if kids are trying to stab the dad. It's like, whoa, what's really going on now?
Yeah, and I'm not a qualified psychiatrist or anything, but that was really, really concerning to me with all the stuff she had previously told me of the kitchen door swinging open, a lot of poltergeist activity going on, and then she gets deeper into they're always fighting and fussing and yelling, and you know, she seemed to feel like there was not really any reason for it. But to know that it came to that kind of violence the night before, you know, I you know, all I knew is this is what this guy wanted, was this turmoil in this family, because he didn't like the husband. And you know, and I dare say that she did text me or message me, I can't remember, a couple months later, and said everything was so much better. The family was, you know, very, you know, loving again, and this sort of thing. So I was really happy, because I did encourage her, if this doesn't work, you guys have to seek counseling and this sort of thing.
So that's good that you're able to help him out, you know, and to validate that and let you know that, you know, things are better. Because
And
that's
we did smudge the home, so that was
good. What did you use to smudge it? Was it just regular sage, or did you use white sage?
we used Red Dragon.
Okay, cool. And things worked out good. See, it's all about that happy medium. There's a solution always there at some point, you know.
Yeah.
That's the good side of investigating.
Yeah. So I want to know about your doll there.
What about her?
Well, what is the story?
Hold on. Come on. So this is Abby, a friend of mine. I do another TV-ish podcast for a variety show, and they bring me on as a paranormal investigator. So one year for my birthday, they imported her, and she came in custom made, handmade.
Wow.
And I thought that was interesting. You know, and they're like, well, she just looks creepy. She's not spirited. Well, you know, living with me in this room, my office, where I do a lot of crazy things and have a lot of strange things, you know, obviously she's going to become spirited. So she became spirited, started doing stuff, and I started noticing that stuff. That's why I started spending a lot of time with her and getting to know her. And then, you know, the connection started going. You're starting to understand what she's trying to tell you. And you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's amazing. So I just bring her along, and she's always on the shelf. I have all my music awards back there, and she keeps them company. And she sees me do the podcast, and then she saw me doing the talking about the teaching that I do, and she's just like wanting to get my attention. So I always put the meters and stuff around her, and she'll like the REM pod. I'll be sitting there, and all of a sudden, if I'll be saying something about whatever, and all of a sudden she'll chime in, and thing goes crazy. I'm like, hold on, and everybody just loves seeing her do that. So like she's doing something. Hold on, she's trying to get our attention. I'm like, all right, what's going on? All right, cool. You know, and then I've had a couple other friends that have spirited dolls as well. So we actually get together and they do play dates, which is just amazing. She just made this friend with one of my friend, Raven has a doll that she takes. She's a psychic medium. We did a Paracon together that I put on. And she brought her friend, and she met her the night before. Goes, you want to go? And she was like, this is a porcelain doll. This is a porcelain face, right?
Yeah.
When she gets excited, she smiles. She's got that smile, but I swear we were talking about the play date with her friend, and her whole face lit up, and we just looked at it and go like, did that just happen? What? I'm like, she's porcelain. It's not like a rubber doll that can do that. She's porcelain. And the face just changed and smiled so big. And then I brought her to the Paracon and sat her on the table with the other doll, and they hung out, and I gave them some candy. And she just, I don't know what you did to that chocolate, but I still have the chocolate. It's all melted and all weird with this like little, I don't know. But she was able to actually melt the chocolate by trying to interact with it, which was just amazing. And
That's
everybody gets
so
around her.
Crazy.
And she just gives off so much good vibes. She just likes to hug and just be around people, which is awesome. You know, so I take her to some. I don't know if you know Patty Negri. She has her doll, and we did some Nickelodeon stuff together. So they were able to connect, and you know, she's got this whole group of spirited dolls that she's friends with. So it's kind of cool, and she gets excited about it and loves to be a part of the action.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah. So people will enjoy her. I like having her around. She keeps me company. She keeps an eye on everything.
There you go.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have any haunted or spirited dolls?
Robert, I do have 2 Amish dolls, because the Amish believe anything facial is vain or whatever, so the
Yeah,
dolls
their
have no
dolls don't have
face.
faces. Yeah.
Yeah. They're quite interesting. One is white and one is black. And a lot of times, like you putting the meters around them, the cat balls and this sort of stuff. I mean, they go crazy. So they're stinkers.
Yeah, always playing and doing stuff.
Yep.
That's what they do, though. They can't just sit there forever. They get bored. So, like, come on.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a bunch of spirits in this house, and it's like nonstop. It's like having a bunch of like family relatives that just come and they just never go home.
Yep.
But they're
So
not
how
active all the time. They just come through all of a sudden like, oh, there you are, cool. What's going on? You turn the sink off now, and you're not gonna do the dishes, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, how long have you had her?
6 years now.
Oh wow, a long time then.
Yep. Good times. And she just gets stronger and stronger, so it's like it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's good. That's so cool.
Yeah. I keep the ones that aren't so friendly in the other building I told you about. It's like those guys gotta stay out there. They can't come in and play.
I'm that way. There's certain things that I just feel a vibe from, an energy from, and I'm like, no, that's not going in the house. No way.
Yeah. And I told him before too. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna move you to this museum, so people can experience you and give you more attention. It's way better than hanging out here in the unattached garage, right? And I had the spirit box going. He's like, well, hold, not yet or whatever. I'm like, don't you want to go? He's like contemplating. I'm like, it's gonna be better for you. You don't got to be in my garage anymore. I don't have to worry about you draining the batteries in my car all the time like you did. All the time. It's so annoying. My car killed my motorcycle, killed the battery in my car, killed the battery in my wife's car. It's like I was looking there today. There's like a whole wall of just these batteries. It's like, really?
What the heck?
Yeah. I just need to get him into a place where people can appreciate him and he can do his thing.
The same thing with Robert. He wants to be where everybody's at. He doesn't want to be off secluded by himself.
Yeah. And I told him, this is going to be better for you. And he's like, no, not yet. It's like, oh, dude. But I'm going to surprise him. I'm taking him over there and see what he thinks. So this could be your shelf right here. Look at this. Look at all these cool spirited dolls in here. You're going to love it. It's like going away to camp. Yeah, I'll come visit you, but this is it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's cool. So what's new for you? What's going on? What are your up and coming future plans?
Oh my gosh. I have exciting news. Cool. I just bought a 125-year-old Victorian home, and it is insanely haunted. So I just recently, in the last couple months, have started letting teams come in because there's just so much. I'm trying to fix it up. I'm going in and cleaning it up and adding antiques and this sort of thing. And there was just too much activity that I was experiencing. I'm like, no way. I've got to share this with people. I want people to come here and see what's going on. And it's just been amazing. It's called the Bolton Street House, and it's in Jacksonville, Texas.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm loving that whole experience. I'm learning that the spirits in this house are extremely vocal. I mean, I'll hear them in real time say something. So it kind of stops me in my tracks because it is so loud. And I'll say, okay, I just heard somebody say, wait, because I have cameras in the house. So I can go back and mark that spot. And sure enough, I can hear it plain as day. Somebody saying, wait, or whatever.
That's cool. And somebody probably wasn't paying attention to them, whoever owned the house before. So now that you're actually paying attention to them, they're happy. Like, cool, someone we can hang out with and talk to, right?
Yeah, I do think that. I don't think anybody has ever wanted to talk to the spirits, I think there's a lot of servants in the house. And so, here I come and I'm talking to the house all the time. And so I think it's extremely active because they're going, wait a minute, she wants to talk to us? Like, we have a voice now. Like, this is cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a haunted theater that I do my
Ooh.
Paracon at every year, and the spirits have got to the point where they know that's their day, and they get so excited. And every year they just look forward to it, and so much activity.
That's so
But nobody
cool.
ever paid attention to them before. So I started doing that. I did a documentary for the theater, and it was cool to learn so much about it. And I just got them on. And one of the things I wanted to try was the thing that I'm known for doing is called the paranormal music part. So it's paranormal investigation, but I'm playing music. And what I like to do is I don't really think about selfishly investigating a place. I'm trying to get my evidence and stuff, but I'm trying to learn about the spirits and have fun with spirits and get them to, build a relationship, a friendship here. So I
Right.
always say, hey, I'm going to come back this day and I'm just going to play music from your genre, your era, and we're just going to have a whole bunch of fun, okay? So I do that, and I go back with the sound system, and I play music from every era. But at the same time, I'm always putting all my meters and all my gadgets and stuff randomly through the place. And I started doing that with them. Like if they're gonna go dancing and stuff on the dance floor, because it's a big, nice dance area, they're gonna bump into my stuff. And sure enough, I started playing music, and then when I got to like the 1940s big band era, the place went insane. Things on the stage were lighting up, and buzzers are going off, and things are lighting up, and the SLSs are going, and there's just stick figures snapping their fingers, getting down. I'm just like, what is going on? This is amazing. So I just try to do
How
that in all the
fun.
places I go, and I started doing that on Ghost Adventures. I'm like, hey, there's a ballroom, haunted ballroom, cool. Let's try to do this, and I started doing that stuff with those guys, and it just works out. Have fun with your spirits, and they're gonna love you forever.
Well, that's what I plan to do. I'm in love with the house. It was one of those wild things like you see on TV. It's just like, oh, I've got to have it. I mean, this is mine. This is the house, and uh, I love it. I love the spirits that I've encountered. There is nothing demonic there. None of that business. Don't want anything with demonic.
Yeah,
uh,
you can't
nothing,
come and play.
nothing like that. But yeah, I think it's totally the house is enjoying the company and the attention that it's getting and the cleanup and all of the stuff I'm putting back is all very time original. It's all from the late 1800s and this sort of thing. So I think they're kind of excited to have somebody that's paying attention.
Totally, because I would. But I've been in a 100-year-old building, and like everyone's just been ignoring me. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, someone starts talking to me. I'm like, "What? Me? Talking to me?"
Like what?
Yeah. All of a sudden, you're like, "Oh, cool! Finally!" And then they start loosening up, and they definitely want to come out and see you and hang out with you and do things with you. And then your
Yes.
investigation gets better. You're like, "Wow, this is cool." You start having parties for them and stuff. That's awesome. You should totally do that. That's gonna
Yep.
be cool. I'd love to come see your house sometime.
Absolutely. Open invitation.
Thank you so
Bring
much.
your doll with you.
You want to go on a road trip?
Yes.
I go to Texas every year, so hey.
Oh, there you go. You should come.
All right, cool. I'll let you know when that's happening. Maybe we can plan something.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
Because last time you told me you're going to take me to Goatman Bridge, but we
Look,
can go
we
to
could
your house.
hit Goatman's Bridge and then we'll run over to Jacksonville and we'll just make a
Cool.
weekend of it.
I'm all about it. Cool. We'll plan that out. That's going to be good.
Okay.
Cool. Well, we do have to wrap. We are coming up to the top of the hour. Becky, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking about our spirited friends, and it's awesome to hear about your new house. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you so much. And thanks for having me back. I always have such a good time.
Thank you so much. All right. Let us know if anything's coming up, and how can people reach you real quick if they have any questions?
You can find me on Facebook. The new Facebook for the house, if anybody's interested, is the 1899 Bolton Street house, or Becky Vickers, or the web page is Becks Ghost Hunters, like you had up there, becksghosthunters.com, and I'm easy to find. So happy to
Cool.
help somebody that has issues or just want to go on a ghost hunt. Let's go.
Absolutely. Always having fun. All right. Well, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
I'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Awesome. Becky Vickers, everybody. Great paranormal investigator. Obviously, you can tell by her energy. She's a lot of fun to probably go investigate with. Hope we can get a chance to go down there and check out her new house, and get that guided tour of the Goat Man Bridge. So that's going to be it for the show. Thank you guys for joining me right here on My Darkest Hour. I have been your host, Stefan, and of course, my co-host, Abby. Always loving to be here. I have to take her on a road trip because that way she can get out there and kind of help us do our own paranormal investigating. So if you guys want to investigate, make sure you guys investigate safe, investigate smart, and we'll see you right here next time on My Darkest Hour. As soon as I find the button.